Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Vikas live show. Today, it's an immense pleasure to have Lieutenant General Balbir Singh Sandhu with us. He is having an amazing experience. But, sir, first of all, thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure, Vikas. It's always an honor to join you in any conversation. It's very enriching for me as well. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, sir, again. So, just for the benefit of our audience, let me tell you that as we are going to celebrate 77th Independence Day, so I thought of that. Why not have someone from the forces? So, when we talk about motivational lectures, leadership lecture, but why not have the somebody from the forces who can let us know that what is the driving force behind the forces. To give you a quick introduction about Lieutenant General Balbir Singh Sandhu, he has been serving the military for more than 37 years. He has been a speaker, columnist, TEDx speaker. In past, he even has served as the vice president of Indian Polo Association and EFI Equestrian Federation of India. And today we are going to talk about that how leadership people at the leadership position can learn from the forces. So, General Balbir Singh Sandhu, definitely would like to know your thoughts on, as we are just approaching the 77th Independence Day. What are your thoughts? What are the highs that you are thinking right now?
Vikas, thank you. It's a very wide canvas. Leadership itself is a very vast subject. And I often deliver talks on leadership lessons from the military for the working professionals or for the corporates. And to start with the first question that I pose to myself, as well as to the people in the corporate world or the any other civil venture or entrepreneurs, is there a similarity between the corporate world and the military, or are we wasting time trying to learn lessons? So differences are many. Army talks about capturing area, defending the country, bloodshed, war, ceremonials. Whereas in the corporate world and in the entrepreneur's journey, you have very basic thing, and that is the balance sheet. Am I making profit or not? So the two are totally diverse subjects, but
Yep.
there are two things which are very common. Unlike what you can do in the government, in the civil services and all this, one is there is no room for failure. In the case of military, the failure could mean that you die, or you get your men killed, or you are surely sacked if you survive. And in the case of service, in the case of say civil, corporate, or as an entrepreneur, uh, you either lose your job or you lose your business.
Yeah.
So there is no room for failure in both the cases. And second common thing is there is accountability. You cannot say I'm doing this and after a few years you'll see the benefits. You have to see it right then, that either you have captured the objective, or in the case of industry, either you have made profits in this season, in this year, the balance sheet. So there is a degree of accountability, and nobody gives you a second opportunity. So with these as the similarities, I find there is immense to learn from each other. I wouldn't say only from the military for the corporates, because when I was in the army as head of my service, I used to very often tell my subordinates, okay, let's look at the corporate world and pick up lessons from them. You armed forces normally live a lot of non-tangibles of success. We are great. We will win, because that war is going to come one day, and morale makes a major role. Whereas in the case of the corporates and the civil sector or the entrepreneurs, it is about products. It's about profits. So you are supposed to make, say, 100 cars. You make 110 with the same resources in the same time, you are a winner. You make 95, you are going in the red, right? So likewise, I always believe that armed forces must pick up these things and try and specify the goals even in logistics and others. And next thing that is most important is, if you see the concept of management and the concept of logistics and supply chain came to the civil from the military. The world
Okay.
lived earlier in a very barter system, localized. It was only the armies which had to travel from Central Asia to come to India to, you know, capture territories, travel long distances, be self contained, understand how to exploit local resources, how to sustain themselves for a few years or few months of the campaign. So, what happened was that the corporate world thereafter picked up these assets and these practices and utilized a lot of technology to make it the latest. Armies world over, even the American army and the Indian army, we've been very security conscious. We do not want to use the open domain technology, which may be dependent on another country or which may have which somebody else may have the access. So as a result, we continue to. I was the Director General Information Technology of the Indian Army for a while. So we continue to look for solutions which are based on our platforms, our media, right? So as a result, today we have to look at technology which is, say, whether it is RFID, whether it is automation or of supply chain, or whether it is any systems of accounting. So today you have to go back to the corporate world to pick up, because we actually cannot take off the shelf, but we employ and engage a lot of services. So that is why there is a lot of similarity. But on the HR aspects and on the leadership aspects, there is a lot which the corporate and the working professionals can pick up from the armed forces to enhance their efficiencies.
Okay,
Like, yeah,
that's great. But I would also like to tell and share with our audience that in case you have any question with General Balbir, you can ask in the chat box below, and I'll take up that question towards the end. That's one. Second, as I'm understanding, you have also done PhD on this subject, sir, right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
okay, my PhD. See, what happens is it's a very interesting process in the army. In fact, over the years, what we've done is uh, the military, especially as officers, it's all about studies. A lot of people join army thinking that there'll be no studies hereafter, but we have to excel a lot in learning and academics. So while I am a BA, Bachelor of Arts from the National Defense Academy, we are given this degree from the Jawaharlal Nehru University when we are cadets at NDA. Then, when we do a competitive exam like Defense Services Staff College, which is located in Wellington in Tamil Nadu, so at the end of that 1 year course, the Madras University recognizes that the learning that you do in that 1 year, the intensity with which we go through exams of various types, military and strategic subjects. They give us, after we write a thesis, I wrote it on Antarctica, I remember, in 1991 92. So they give you a degree of MSc in Defense Studies. So next, after at the colonel's rank, I did higher command course at Army War College, MOW. So when you do the higher command course, again it's a 1 year course, and we learn all about military. So the Devi Ahilya University in Indore recognizes that, and if you write a thesis, which I did, I wrote about Indian Army Logistics 2010, and this was in 2001 and 2. I did for 1 year. So then you get MPhil. And
Okay.
next, because the high command course is for very selected officers, not everybody does high command course. So then again, after the rank of brigadier, at the rank of brigadier, we have a course called National Defense College, that is at 30 January Marg in New Delhi, which is attended by the officers of the services, Army, Navy, Air Force, the civil servants, all branches, Indian Police Service, IPS, IAS, Revenue, and other services. And we have about 35, 40 foreign officers. So there, at the end of the course, again, if we write a thesis, the Madras University recognizes that. So I've done my MPhil twice.
Wow.
So that is how, okay. So after my retirement, I continued with that. So I did my PhD from Department of Defense and Strategic Studies, Punjabi University, Patiala. Since I had served about 12 years in Northeast India, in the where all this turmoil is going on now in Manipur. So I have served a lot in Manipur, almost 10 years of my service, starting from various ranks, second lieutenant up to brigadier. So I opted to do my PhD on peace, security, and economic development of Northeast India with reference to BIMSTEC, that is Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Economic
Okay.
Cooperation. So I did that, for which I submitted my thesis during the first lockdown. So that is what made me a doctorate qualified person. Yeah.
Great, great. Though having said that, how you like what are the processes available is one thing, but having that inner desire that doing a PhD at this age, working so much, studying so much, because sometimes people say that after 50s, 60s, people tend to lose out their ignite for learning. But you actually shown that leadership skill yourself to keep learning new things at this age also. So that is a commendable job in itself.
You
Somebody must
know,
have said you something that why what is the need of PhD at this age? You have served at such higher ranks in army. So what is the need of a PhD now?
no, actually, this question has been asked very often. How do you benefit from this? I said because I've seen a lot of my friends and others who have applied for PhD, but they got lazier and they haven't written their thesis, or they've taken 5 6 years. The minimum time that I think you have to take is 3 years. So my minimum and maximum time was 3 years. I completed my
Wow.
thesis in 3 years. It is firstly, I think I mean, I retired at the age of 60. The chief retires at 62, and a major general at 58, and likewise, a colonel retires at 54, colonel and below. So I thought 60 is too early to retire. So, and as you learn more, you find the need that you need to do much more. And I think with the better facilities now, and if you are conscious of your physical fitness, I don't think it is time to just relax and read the newspaper from end to end and play golf 3 4 times a week. So I felt that keeping your mental faculties active as well along with your physical activity. So I have my schedule full. I have to use my mobile, those engagements, and it keeps you feeling very good. And then it is very enjoyable to have an odd day with no engagement, right? So that thrill of enjoying that day without engagement at a time, just sitting at home, comes from the fact that on other days you have 3 to 4 engagements. So that is why I participate in these seminars, and I do write articles for think tanks and some of these publications like News 18. I wrote recently 2 articles on Manipur. I wrote another two on Punjab when the Punjab problem was there, because I served in Punjab also as a major during the days of turmoil. So it also gives you an active exercise for your mind. And you will agree with me that there's a lot yet to learn in life,
True.
both
So true.
from the point of view of knowledge. And after I have retired, I've seen there's so much in the corporate world. There's so much in every sphere. There is so much of So many things which we took for granted, somebody specializes in those. So whether it is marketing, whether it is, just brand building, and having been on the management of Delhi Golf Club, which is a company governed by the Companies Act. Uh, so you learn a lot. You can't take anything of granted. You are accountable to shareholders and all that. So it's an endless journey of learning.
Wow, so true. And in between, we have a question from one of our person. The name is not reflected, but the question says that can you provide guidance on fostering innovation and creativity within a team as a leader? Because especially army need a lot of innovation and creativity to, because the problems are unique, situations are unique. So what army does to foster that innovation and creativity in their people?
So that's a very, very interesting question and very, very large canvas that is. But if I have to say in a short, so few words, I would say when you are leading a team or you are part of a team or you are a key entity in a team, the first thing is the relationship amongst the team members. It has to be very, very sincere, honest, and free flowing, right? Uh, I I felt when I was a major here, I was commanding a unit as a major in Delhi, and I mean, I'm fairly young at that time. You're just about in your 30s, but I was heading that organization, and you had about 350 men. You have a lot of resources, a lot of transport, and I used to feel that I am extremely lucky to be at a position where people look at you. So once people look at you, you have to remember one thing: you cannot fool people. You have to be
Okay.
extremely honest to your subordinates and your teammates. They must have that access to you that you are the person whom they can just go to at any time. And you have to clearly have relationships which go beyond working, in the sense that while they are very clear that work is serious business, but at the same time they do not hesitate to run up to you, come up to you to solve their problem. They're not trying to show you, or they're not trying to have that impersonal relationship in work. So the team spirit that we call it, and the team spirit comes, one is you have to lead from the front. You have to take responsibility for all failures, and you have to give credit to your team and your partner, your team members, for success. And you have to continue to realize that uh, positions are not for having fun. Leadership positions are not for relaxing. Leadership positions are more demanding on you than the followers. And I remember, I know at times it's not a very great idea to give your own example. When I was the DGST as a lieutenant general, so I used to interview officers when they got posted out. So I asked one officer, I said, so tell me any feedback point that we can improve in our place. And how has your stay been with me here? He says, sir, everything is fine, great, we enjoying working and all that. And but earlier we used to spend a lot of time going for a cup of coffee in neighboring offices. That we can't do. I said that's very bad on my part that I don't leave you with that time. Because no, sir, there is nothing to be left. We just try to keep pace with you. And in my tenure, I never had a file pending. You used to have a stack at time 2 feet higher. So whatever I couldn't complete in the office because of too many meetings, I would make sure by next morning 9 o'clock there's nothing pending on my desk. So you as a leader has to innovate. You as a leader has to set an example. You as a leader have to enable your team. You have to train your team, and it cannot be I told you and me versus you. It has to be we. We succeeded, and I take responsibility for failure. And next is, as a team leader, you have to always have this. There's a very famous shabd by Guru Gobind Singh Ji. He said,
Ajay.
"इन्हीं की कृपा से सजे हम हैं, वरना 900 गरीब करोड़ पड़े." What he means is that whatever I am as a leader, it is because of my soldiers. Otherwise, there are crores of people like me. So, if you are indebted to your subordinates, if you are binding yourself with them, and if you are with them through thick and thin, innovation, efficiency, output always comes. So this
Great,
is what
great.
I can say in short. Otherwise, the whole lifetime we can keep thinking about it. And
Truly, truly, and somehow the name did not come here. But when I go on LinkedIn, I see it's Bijal Shah who asked this question. So thanks, Bijal Shah, for asking this question. Uh, Another question which I had received previously, like when we talk about corporate, you created a beautiful analogy between there are some similarity between the army and the corporate, and there are some differences. Now, one of the thing that talking about the commitment and ability to command people. So in military, we prepare people that they can sacrifice their life. Like what's more can be bigger than that thing. And in corporate, like after post COVID, it's companies are finding difficult for people to bring back people in office. Like back to office is a big campaign for people to run that sort of campaign. And also working on Saturday, you invite a person on like Saturday, it's a big task. So how leadership, because still there is a role of leadership, how the army inculcate that kind of culture, that level of commitment. At corporate, we don't want people to commit their life, but still how we can build and increase at least that level of commitment.
okay, see, I think the whole story gets summed up uh, in the learning and study of leadership. I'll give you an example, and it's a very long process. Like when we recruit a soldier, he's a raw 16, 17 old boy from rural India who is to I mean it's very simplistically or um, uh, very unorganized, who's dressed up in a very unorganized manner, is not used to getting up in the morning, is not used to obeying orders, and lives a very informal life, right? Whereas the first thing that is brought to the army, since he is going to be a soldier, right? He's taught the very basics of physical fitness, of discipline in terms of drill, of a certain routine, you know. And now you convert this into the corporate. If I am from a company which believes in punctuality, which believes in discipline, which believes in meeting deadlines, right? You will have more organized people who have crossed the first step. So in the case of army, these soldiers after a while become so disciplined that they would like to get up on time, they would like to plan their movement, they would like to dress up in a manner, they will shave in the morning, and they won't just move around in slippers. Because the other day I was telling these kids at the IIM, I said, I'm nobody to teach you discipline. Tell me, isn't it uncomfortable to walk around in these slippers? I mean, I said, just tell me, what excites you? Does it make you look cool? He says, no, no, sir, actually, I was in a hurry and that's why. So I said, if there is something interesting, I would like to know about it. Otherwise, no, that is just become a kind of nature and culture. And I've seen in the corporate world also there are companies which are very strict about their or very, and that strictness cannot be only the executives and the lower people. It has to be right across the board, and especially if you are in leadership positions, you have to. So that is one thing is discipline. Second is the in case of an officer, the demand is much more. When we go to National Defense Academy, we are put through much more mental pressure. You are literally, you're doing your graduation, you're expected to do some studies, you do physical fitness, and even when you come back to your squadron, you are put through pressure that you really feel. I remember we felt, that anyone else, even the soil of National Defense Academy, is treated better than a cadet. So once you go through all this and you reach an army unit, In the army unit, a young officer, a second lieutenant in those days, nowadays lieutenant, he is not straightway welcomed into the officer's mess. He is made to live with his men in the barrack.
Okay.
He eats with them. If he's a Sikh, but he's with Gurkhas, he learns Gurkhali. If he's a South Indian with the Sikh troops, he learns Punjabi. So these are the prerequisites within first 2 3 months. He lives in the barracks. He goes to the same toilets, public toilets with them. He eats what they eat, and he learns about every Jawan. He learns about their families. He learns about their problems. He learns their language. And during his leave, he goes to their to their native places to learn about their culture, so that he doesn't do anything which is towards which they are sensitive. And then he is made to run through all the tests, from a Jawan to one stripe to two stripe. He's already an officer, but he's made to join those cadres, and he quickly runs through those tests. Now you'll agree with me, when you are with this 100 men and you've gone through all these processes, and you have established yourself as a leader who can genuinely lead them. You have proved every aspect of physical fitness, of camaraderie, of being superior, and I would say use the word superior, of being better than them in their field. That is the kind of relationship which binds these people. And that is why when we saw in the Kargil, they were all young officers, and they lead from the front. They don't look back whether they are being followed or not. And those behind never bother about their lives. And so patriotism and other things are there. But the main thing is the bonding of this team. They never want to fail, and they never want to get back having run away from battle. So that is what motivates the men in the army. But I would now take it to the corporate and the working professionals. The other extreme is that in the corporate world, I've seen my sons have been uh, working there. At times, there is no relationship other than work. Nobody knows about the subordinate. Where does he live? How many brothers, sisters, children, mother? If somebody's parents are sick or something. Just a word of concern at times, just that inquisitiveness to know about your subordinates and about your teammates. You can do nothing about them. You can do not much to help them. You can only give them their entitled leave. You can only ask them, how's your mother? She was not well. That itself wins you over enough loyalty to deliver the corporate results. So right.
Oh, wow.
So one is, yeah, this is one thing that I find which is lacking, and two is, when I was a young officer, one of our general officers commanding, he's no more, God bless his soul, he said, put yourself in others' shoes before you criticize. For me is to say Vikas Jain, the way he is, this is very easy. But if I am as a subordinate telling about my boss, but if I put myself honestly in those shoes of Vikas Jain as a head of my branch, and I realize, yeah, he is accountable to someone, he has to push us, I will not make such irresponsible remarks, right? And next is, as you go up, people say, no, no, we were made to do these things like this. So what? I mean, take it back. Come on, do it again. So never do to your subordinates what you didn't like to be done to you, right? So come out with, I mean, start feeling for your subordinates, and as a junior, start understanding what is the vulnerability of your superior. How can I help him so that he feels comfortable, and that is how he'll call you as very good chap. I can't do without him. So I think these small things are very important. They look very innocuous. They look not written in the book of accountability, but this relationship building, communication. He knows it. I have told him. You told him. If you can do it through 2 3 modes of communication, it's that much better. Instead of putting out on the other guy, it should be enabling the other guy to make sure that the other person doesn't feel. That is the thing I think can make people a cohesive force. I'll give you an example. My elder son used to work for KPMG as a
Yeah.
young professional right after when he's out of college. And he tells me one day, he says, others with me are getting much better salary. They negotiated much better. And if you see among these big four, KPMG, Deloitte, EW, people keep hopping for a better deal. So I said, "Are you enjoying your work there?" He says, "Yes." "Are you learning?" He says, "Yes." "Do you like the people?" "I really like people." I said, "I'll make up your shortfall. Just enjoy." And Bito, he worked for 5 years, and then he went for studies abroad and did whatever.
Wow.
So the question was, uh, because of those people providing him an enabling working environment, he stayed on. So not everyone is always for money. So we can add a bit of working environment to get loyalty and to uh, reduce people going home, jumping jobs. So I think something can be achieved. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. In between, I would like to share there are commendation coming from the great message that you have shared. So Chavi Singhal said, greeting, lot of respect. Each and every verse from you is a gem, practical and apt. So she's liking the content and very nice thoughts, very nice thoughts, sir. And I think I got a glimpse of beautiful glimpses while you were talking, General Zab, regarding that connect before command. I think for the question that how we can accept that accountability from the people with us, you need to connect with them before commanding those people. So probably I think you, because of your wisdom, like you have a long journey of working with in army and making that happen. But I think for the corporate, I think at, I'm not sure if any book has been written on this part or article, but probably you are a columnist, you keep writing. Probably that itself, a lot of corporate might require this knowledge that how to connect the small things, though they are small thing, but if they are jotted down in 10 activities, 15 activities, that what leaders can do to first connect with the audience, connect with the people that before making command. I think that itself would be a great thing.
No, in fact, I'll just amplify this. Uh, People think that in the army you order and things happen,
Yeah, that's a
right?
perception. I would agree.
Yeah, that's the perception. People think, it's not, this is not army. You can just order and things will happen, right?
Yes.
Uh, I've been very lucky. Like I told you, I got a command as a major, which is not given to everyone. I was just lucky. It's not that you are supposed to be some extraordinary person to do it. So, and Lieutenant Colonel also, sometimes you go on staff. I also again got a command. So, and then of course as a colonel, I got a command. So one thing is very clear. I felt before you pass an order, you must make sure that you have gone through uh, its execution. Your order must convince 90% of the people whom you are ordering. 5-10% don't agree, they will be overpowered by the other 90 to say, listen, you can't be questioning this thing, this is something right. So, like I said, if your order must always be the one where your subordinates are convinced that this is a genuine order. This is an order which is in the organization's interest and we need to do it. And like I said, it's not we, you, it is I, you, it is we need to do it. And I think you should never give an order which you feel cannot be executed. You must give enabling training, you must give enabling resources to your subordinates to execute it. And you should have given them that confidence that they can do it, and which is through training, through resources, through cheering up or being part of them. And like I said, you should probably ask them any issues, any problem, you want any help from me. And I can give you a number of examples. but
Understood.
being part of them to execute, I would say, organization's orders. It should never be me and my order. It's our order. It is our thing, and it does not at any stage mean that you can't be firm. You can very well be very firm, and that authority will come to you out of respect. They say a senior must never think he is senior, and a junior must never forget he is junior. That is a wonderful relationship.
Wow, that itself is a great punchline for so many. A senior should never think that he is senior, and junior should not forget that he is junior.
That's a very good
Beautiful.
relationship.
Yes, good relationship, definitely. Though we have many questions in the pipeline, but still, I would like to take up that one last question. Is you have a great interest in sports, so is it just for casual thing you play the sports, or you think there is a correlation with the army or the leadership lessons also with the sports?
So, my journey has been. I'm a first generation army officer. So when I joined National Defense Academy, I used to ride, and then I learned over there playing polo and doing show jumping, equestrian, and all. So when I was passing out, I thought my life would be all riding and playing polo. So I joined Army Service Corps because they had these teams, and it is only after a while that I realized that um, doing your main job, uh, the main professional job, isn't that out of sync with the sports. Normally, people say a sportsman is not good in profession. So I made it for me that I am going to continue with both, which I was lucky to continue. I I I still ride horses. I still sometimes play polo exhibition games. I don't play competitive polo, and I play golf. So what I found was that if you keep up both with physical fitness and go as aggressively for your academic and other professional commitment, and you have the ability to balance it out at the right time. You may have to leave sports sometimes because I participated at the national and international level, but I could balance them out. And when I look back at my career, because after all, whatever happened, people call me successful because if you reach the rank that I did. So I look back, and that's my TEDx talk is on soldiering, sports, and leadership. Because
Wow.
when I look back, I thought all my leadership lessons I learned from the spirit of soldiering. And for spirit of soldiering, you don't need to wear uniform. हम स्कूल में भी वही करते हैं, जैसे अपने यूनिफॉर्म पहनते हैं, अपने हाउस के लिए चेयर करते हैं, स्कूल के लिए चेयर करते हैं, और हम डिसिप्लिन मेंटेन करते हैं. ये सारी सोल्जरिंग की क्वालिटीज हैं. तो अच्छा,
Right.
एक अगर सिक्सर तेंदुलकर मारता है, कोहली मारता है, या कोई गांव में क्रिकेट खेल रहा है, उसको भी वही थ्रिल है. सो देर इज अ सोल्जरिंग एंड स्पोर्ट्समैन स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन स्पिरिट. So when I look back, I thought these two things made were the driving force for my career and for my own growth as a person. So I feel uh, sports teach you a lot of leadership lesson. It is an established fact. Whether it is hard work, whether it is discipline, you look at these guys like who are great performers, and they really work beyond their tolerable limits, and they cannot take chances with their diet, team spirit. I can never forget this guy called Dhanraj Pillai of Indian hockey. He used to be such a wizard that opponents used to use two guys to mark him. And I still remember one goal where he was overpowered. He just flicked it to the other player and whacked it into the goal. So team spirit, and the n number of examples how we once lost, we were complacent, how you learn lessons of reality. There is no friends here. If you lost a match, you lost a match. You won a, so there's a very famous thing that I say, that play life like a sport, where a foul is a foul and a goal is a goal. It doesn't see the person, right? So sports have a great meaning in your leadership. and whether you play or you enjoy or you think, and a little bit of physical fitness, even if you don't get all facilities, I'm sure a few push-ups and crunches and sit-ups in the morning can make you feel fitter.
Wow. So we covered many things today. We covered the learning aspect of leadership. We covered the commitment, how to connect before commanding, and the sports aspect. And we have a appreciation coming from Kulvinder ji. He said, General Sandhu, thanks for sharing some anecdotes and real life incidents. This is my learning from your session today. An army leader is anyone who, by virtue of an assumed role of assigned responsibility, inspire and influence people to accomplish organizational goals. Army leaders motivate people both inside and outside the chain of commands to pursue action, focus on thinking, and shape decision for the greater good of the organization. And he liked the word even the soldiering. So again, many many accolades to you for sharing such beautiful insights. We have one more question. I think this would be the last question because but the discussion is so interesting. It's from a different perspective, how to bring discipline in our kids. I think as a parent, lot many people beyond corporate, like how parents can set themselves as an example. So we know that you showcase that thing and kids will follow and they will follow, but still at certain points they do not follow. So, as a parent, child, future leaders, what we can do?
No, this is a question beyond my ability to answer. But what I can think, having brought up two children, some successes, some failures in terms of discipline. Otherwise, God is very kind. They are both very successful. So what I think is where we at times go wrong is we try to overemphasize on certain aspects. I think you have to trick them into discipline. So one thing I found, when you're young kids, you keep them engaged in activities which are interesting and which make them a bit disciplined, right? But it's a fight, it's a battle in which any amount of innovation is less. And also, I think there is a certain awakening. Like I tell my children, I say, yeah, we were we weren't very disciplined. I mean, we went to the boarding and we did take chances with life till late. And as we grew, we woke up. But today's world, the competition is so much that they will not get that opportunity to kind of reclaim lost ground. So Shavi, it's a battle. Continue to fight, and I think instead of telling that I want to discipline you, one is setting an example. वो भी कभी ना कभी तो उसको follow करेगा, maybe late. And second is trick them into activities which teach discipline than to say that I want to teach you discipline. Maybe that's part of the answer. I mean, it's a very difficult question.
नहीं, मेरे को इससे ये याद आ रहा है कि व्हेन आई वाज इन स्कूल, आई वाज स्टडीइंग इन रोहिणी में, गवर्नमेंट स्कूल जो था, तो जो हमारे प्रिंसिपल साहब थे उनका, आई रिमेम्बर ही वाज फ्रॉम फोर्सेस बैकग्राउंड। तो एकदम एक बार कुछ इरिटेट होके वो बोले हैं, सुबह असेंबली में बोलते हैं कि मैंने हजारों लोगों का फोर्सेस को संभाल लिया, तुम 500 बच्चा मेरे से नहीं संभलता है।
ये
तो
बहुत बहुत मुश्किल काम है।
हाँ,
I
तो
agree.
कहते हैं तो बच्चों को संभालना डेफिनेटली एक अलग चीज़ है, बट जनरल साहब, आज आपने इतनी ब्यूटीफुल इंसाइट शेयर करी, यू कवर ऑल द एस्पेक्ट्स, एंड जस्ट बिफोर, लाइक व्हेन वी आर गोइंग टू अप्रोच द 15th अगस्त इंडिपेंडेंस डे, इट इज सच अ मूवमेंट ऑफ प्राइड कि हम देखते हैं, एंड इट्स ऑल बिकॉज ऑफ आर्मी। आई थिंक डेफिनेटली द होल नेशन इज इंडेप्टेड टू द फोर्सेस, बिकॉज वो कहते हैं कि क्योंकि वो जागते हैं तभी हम लोग सो पाते हैं। तो जब आप लोग इतना देश के लिए कर रहे हैं, मतलब आई स्टिल रिमेम्बर कुछ कुछ पर्सनल चीज था मेरे, कुछ पर्सनल गोल कमिटमेंट था जिसको मैंने उस लेवल पे पूरा नहीं किया। तो थैंक्स टू यू आई जॉइंड द आर्मी पोलो क्लब
Yeah,
and
yeah,
APRC, and I was there, and it was such a interesting moment there that on 26th January there were some choppers which were to be started from that location, and there were, like, in my life, for the first time I saw choppers flying, like army
so
choppers
many
flying, and
helicopters
so
taking
many
off
so many
together.
helicopters taking off together. बट एक मन में एक उस दिन एक बात आया, और स्टिल मैं आई एम स्टिल सर्चिंग फॉर द आंसर, कि आई गॉट सो इमोशनल, एक्चुअली मेरी आंख से आंसू आ गया कि दीज ऑफिसर्स, मतलब दे फॉर द नेशन वो अपनी जान दे देते हैं, मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ। मतलब because there is so much to do for the society. और otherwise देखा जाए तो my journey, मैंने corporate angle को छोड़ के जो मैं काम करने लगा, coming from the IT background to the things which I am doing now, तो I was doing something, but एक ये आया because मतलब in front of army it seems like it's nothing. मतलब तो great, thanks for you being here.
No. I will just take a minute to tell you.
हाँ जी,
Frankly speaking, everybody has a role. You know, national security, uh, military security is one of the part of national security, right? Economic security, uh, food security, water security, power security. So everybody has a role, and in fact, as an army officer, I always feel very indebted to our society that we still live in a country where soldiers respect us so much, where citizens respect us so much. Frankly speaking, everybody is a soldiers in this society. Everyone contributes towards national security. And despite your not asking me, my one message would be, I think one thing which we need to really do something about ourselves in our country is our precedence towards our community. You know, we are great ones as Indians towards ourselves, but we are very cruel and very irresponsible towards community. मेरे घर का कचरा मेरे घर के पीछे, वो दूसरे घर का फ्रंट है, मुझे कोई तकलीफ नहीं है. Yesterday I was coming in Uber and this guy, there is a cyclist going in front. इसने एक्सीलेटर भी दबाया और हॉर्न भी मारा. उस साइकिलिस्ट ने 4 गैस सिलेंडर बांधे हुए थे, मोटरसाइकिलिस्ट आई थिंक. So I told him, I said, why are you trying to intimidate him? I said, in the sea, a big ship has to give right of way to the boat which is without an engine, by the way. So that is why you have officers on the watch on the ships. I said, ये तेरे से कमजोर है बेचारा, तू कार में है, तू एसी में बैठा है, वो एक मोटरसाइकिल के ऊपर 4 सिलेंडर लेके अपनी रोटी कमाने के लिए जा रहा है और तू उसको इंटिमिडेट कर रहा है हॉर्न मार के और स्पीड. तो दैट गाय वेरी स्वीट ऑफ हिम, ही से साहब ये पहली बार मैंने ये एंगल सोचा है. आई सेड साइकिलिस्ट है, पेडेस्ट्रियन है और हम कार में हैं, तो ऐसे हम उसको बेचारे को थोड़ी सी इज्जत दे दें, थोड़ी सी सहूलियत कर दें. सो प्रोबेबली वी एज इंडियंस, आई थिंक all of us have to start thinking about our community, about our society, about our what can I do about ये जो स्वच्छ भारत या ऐसी चीजें. I think we need to do more for the community. We will become we are a great country. We will become greater. That's
great,
it.
great. Thank you, General Balbir, for sharing your time, sparing
Vikas,
time. There
thank
are
you.
many other questions in the pipeline, but I think due to paucity of time, will not be able to take it. You have a busy schedule.
I
Thank you.
enjoyed
Thanks again.
conversing with you. Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and salute to forces. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we sign out.